What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over my photography pre-college versus after college, and really just want to show my progress over the years. And I realized that I've never really shared any of my work on the channel yet, so today I wanted to do that with you guys, and hopefully you like it. I'm also going to run through some question and answers while I'm doing this because I've been asked some good questions by friends before, and I also wrote down a bunch of questions that I think are helpful to people who maybe are considering college or wondering if they could benefit from college as well. I figured I'll just pull up some images on my phone from pre-college. I have most of the images that I applied to undergraduate with still. I have them in my archive, and then I figured I would compare and contrast those with images that I took shortly after graduating college so that you can see how my photography evolved over the 5 years. First one up is this image of a Christmas ornament. I think this is literally the first picture I took with my camera when I got my first DSLR back on Christmas in 2010 or 11. It's so bad now looking at it. It's just not very interesting. The composition is whatever. You can hardly tell that it's a Christmas tree or even a Christmas ornament at that. It doesn't have a great background blur. It's just overall not a great image. But if we compare and contrast that with this image of a Christmas tree I took in 2018 after graduating, you could see a big change. The reason I picked this image was because, similar subject matter, but the composition is a lot stronger. The direction of the lighting is a lot stronger. The textures of my mom's house, kind of how the furniture is arranged, and it gives you more of a sense of the personality of the people who live there. And I think that is what makes this a lot more interesting. How did your approach to art change after formal education, and how can I apply similar principles to my own practice? Some of the bigger changes or realizations for me was that I don't have a style. I'm going to say that again. I don't have a style. I can make whatever I want, and it will all tie back into my identity as an artist. Whether it's photography, music visuals, collage, it's all part of my artistic journey and the way of communicating the way that I see the world. I think having a style or trying to think about your own style and becoming easily recognizable is a great way to stifle your own development. And I don't want that. Okay, this image I love. I've been a skateboarder since I was 10 years old, and this is a photo of my friend doing a tray flip on a mini ramp. He would always do just tray flip to fakies, and it was the craziest shit I've ever seen. So this image just captures the tray flip while it's perfect mid flip, and you can see how high he's getting and just coming back down to land on this. I think this photo has some positives going for it. So the sky is properly exposed. I would have liked to have dodged and burned on his foot a little bit because it's looking a little faded. I would have also tried to bring some more detail back into the skateboard itself. How did your artistic journey evolve from high school to college, and what lessons can I learn from it? So for me, one of the biggest things that I learned was that you need to look at other artists. I think that is key. See how they compose, see what their colors look like, their subject matter is. That is something that I totally didn't think about when I was a student in high school, and I wish I did more of, because I think my photos would have looked better. I think that my work would have had more meaning to it as well. And then, when you're looking at other photographers and artists, it helps you envision yourself in this long line of history of successors of art. And I think that's really cool. One of my favorite images post graduating college. I freaking love this photo. I took it in the back seat of my mom's car when we were on a road trip down to Florida from New York. I think we were in West Virginia, and I just saw this truck coming up and this farm and these silos also coming up. So I tried, it took me a few tries, but I finally got them all in the frame at the same time. I like the shape of the truck a lot. I like the colors, these muted yellowish colors with a gray blue sky with little hints of red popping out all over. I like the relationship between the truck and the farm and kind of this whole idea of our food system. This image Where do I even start with this? I was obsessed with long exposures. And so this, I tried, like I tied a piece of string to a flashlight and set it on a long exposure in the dark and used that to like illuminate and kind of create this like smoky effect. This is like way too yellow green. Skull candies themselves look like they're out of focus. The shape of this smoke like is really shitty. I didn't even bother cleaning off the top of my dresser back then. So sad day. Sad image. How did your art evolve during your college years, and how has it influenced your postgraduate work? So for me, my subject matter maturing was the biggest evolution for me. I became more interested in politics in college and ideology, and at the same time I was learning how to communicate those complex thoughts through my education and with the books I was reading and the people that I was hanging out with and the conversations that I was having. It all just they all played into each other and built off of each other. And so that's why I say my subject matter maturing and like my ideas, like that is like a big part of the difference between my work pre-college versus post-college. Here's another one. Much better composition, much better like color correcting I've got going on here. You know, we got the American flag in this drugstore window. And again, I think the biggest shift between the pre-college portfolio and the post-college portfolio is that you can see that I'm thinking about more complex issues as a photographer and how I can take everyday scenarios, everyday images that exist and use them and create them and compose them in a way that speak to what I'm thinking about more so than just me seeing something that I think could look cool in the camera, which is what I think was happening a lot back then. So, you know, like this, obviously America, like the United States, the biggest drug market in the world, the biggest consumers of drugs in the world, and like prescriptions, the pharmaceutical industry, tying all of that back to the flag and like this image and us as a people. Like, I think that's what this image is doing. And I even like the dividing panel in the window. I think like separating the flag between the left and the right is like, it may be a bit of a stretch, but like that is this country. Like we're split between the left and the right. Like, and I just think that this illustrates everything really well in like a simple image. Minimalism. My attempt like at minimalism, burning an incense in like an incense holder that I had in my bedroom. I still compositionally, I think this works. Like this to me now looks like a minimalist painting. The background has got this like kind of fuzzy, smoky texturedness to it that like kind of gets carried throughout a lot of different parts of the image. So overall, I think it's like not bad. I think now if I were to shoot this again, I would try and get like the lines a lot more crisp and then maybe play with like a blurrier background. But overall, you know, back then, like grainy kind of pictorialist style photo, I'll take it. I'll accept this. What lessons from your college experience can people use and apply to their artistic journey? So for me, that was to try everything. Don't let whatever you think you are limit your potential as an artist. And this is going back to what I was saying about style earlier. Embrace rejection because it just means that you're trying. Those are some really like key things that I learned in school that I think set up my mindset so that I could continue making art into my late 20s and I'm soon to be in my early 30s. And I think that just, those things set me up for the rest of my life and I'm really thankful for them. Okay, going on from there is this image of this cemetery that's right behind this like big industrial factory. And I love this image. I love the blue and green color palette. I would say it's maybe a little too saturated. You know, I like saturated. I like the play of these colors. I like the kind of brighter poppiness to a dark subject matter. Like when I took this, I was really thinking about how people just work themselves to death and like spend all their time working and just for what? To build up these industries. So I think it's a cool idea that's illustrated really solidly through the image. And this bird was also like one of my like top images. I was so hyped that I got this picture, mostly because of how the orange on the bird's chest mimicked the orange like glow, the light that was hitting the trees in the background. So I was so hyped on this. And I love taking pictures of birds and nature. Yeah, I mean, for having taken this photo outside my like front door, basically in my suburban neighborhood, not bad. You know, I had a kit telephoto lens. Definitely think it's like too dark still, like especially the tree and the tree branch on the left hand side. Like you can see the texture kind of, but I would have loved to have tried to bring that out more and like save more of that texture to like really bring it to the forefront and ground the tree a little bit more underneath the bird. I would have also probably tried to eliminate these branches that are like just above the bird here. I think that's really distracting and not helpful. How did you navigate the challenges of artistic growth without formal education? I just kept learning. Luckily I'm in New York City, so I have access to a lot of free art. I would just continually go to galleries. I would continually go to art shows, openings, museums. I was also constantly researching artists online. I was buying books and I was reading books and I was looking at photographers on Instagram and I was having conversations with artists on Instagram. And that's really like a lot of what's led me to where I am now, making YouTube videos and making podcasts and gathering resources for artists. So just keep learning, keep building on habits, and you will continue to develop outside of a formal education. Okay, and this last image. This may be confusing for a lot of people because this may look like kind of what I was talking about before with just taking like aesthetically pleasing images or images that I think could be good compositions, but there is more to that, more than meets the eye here. So this is like a path that my friends and I would take a lot when we were kids. It was kind of like a wooded off area that we would like cut through and like hang out in sometimes. And so I went back here one day during like a holiday. There weren't a lot of people around. And I took this image because you can kind of see straight through. You could see one of the houses in the neighborhood where I grew up. The path that we would follow is like really clear. So I think there's a clear line of movement through the image. The separation between the foreground and the background that's really nice. And like, I really like the shape of these trees. Again, I also am a fan of the blue and green color scheme with like a little bit of yellow coming through from the light. I think there's like a really good texture on the tree. I think this is like overall like exposed really well. Nothing's too dark, nothing's too bright. I think this image is really near and dear to like my personal experience like as a person growing up, and I hope that that comes through and that other people can relate to that. Like anyone who grew up in that kind of suburban neighborhood will have those places that were just like kind of the in-between houses and developments and shopping centers for them. Just like where you could get a little bit of that escapism. And that's what this is for me. But yeah, that's my portfolio, guys. That's my work, at least some of it. Maybe I'll do some more videos. If people like this, I'm happy to share more of my work. I'm happy to share like my video stuff or my collage stuff, or like even do some process videos. If that's interesting to you, let me know. Like, drop a comment below. Like, I'd be happy to make more videos about my work and stuff. It's a little bit hard. It's weird kind of sharing with a camera and not like talking to a person, but you know, that is this YouTube game. If you're liking my content in the channel so far, go ahead and subscribe, give it a like, you know, hit the notification bell, do whatever you do to support. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that's watched so far. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.